was about more of introduction to data analysis. We talked about things that you need to know, where data analysis can function, the applications, the areas of applications where data analysis could be applied to, and went on to discuss the skills, the tools that are needed. Then we made mention of the difference between a data analyst, a data scientist, and all other related fields that are related to data analysis, in which data is involved. We also mentioned concepts regarding data, the importance of data, why we actually need data, what data can do, and um, in today's class we'll be going over getting started into data analysis, um, the tools basically. So for today's class we'll be looking into basic functions of Excel. So I mentioned in the last class that one of the first tools we'll be looking into is Excel, because that's one of the workspace of, not basically Excel, spreadsheets generally, any uh, sheet processing, a sheet processor basically. So spreadsheets, anything that falls into spreadsheets. Um, of course, I don't have Excel on my system, but we are going to be using okay, we are going to be using Google Sheets, and I also have another software that I'm going to show you. That is Library Office. It's an open source, unlike Excel. Excel is actually paid for, but I guess because of where we find ourselves, we have access to it easily. But Library Office is an open source. Open source means that it is free. Let me share my screen. So please just let me know as soon as you can see my screen. Yes, it's this, that's this. Share, okay. Can everyone see my screen? Hello. Okay. Thank you, Kingsley. Yeah, thanks, Bill. Okay, so this is basically the whole of my screen. This is Google Sheets. It's very comprehensive. So all you need to use Google Sheets is just basically your email account. You just need to sign in and you are in. So there are various things you can do with Google Sheets. I'm sure some of us are already familiar with it. Store information with it basically. We store a lot of things. We take a lot of data. Some of us use it for attendance. Some of us use it for sales. The um, the use is unlimited. It can be used for various things and all of that. But we are going to be using it for data analysis, and basically we are going to be using it to collect our data. Um, just looking at this, so there are various things you can do. You can even work with this offline. So I'm not here to give us the advantage or disadvantage of using this over Excel, but I'm just here to show you how this is more not better, but why I like it better. I think that's a better word. So why I like this is it allows for collaboration. That's one of the advantages. So I can share this over the web. All I need to just do is, I think there's supposed to be, yeah, a share link here, and okay, this is the name. Let me just say data analysis intro to basics. Sorry, basic save. Okay, yeah. So I can share it to whoever I want to share it to, and we could, let me even copy the link and drop it on the page. So it's something we can all work with. So when you guys are when other people are making what's it called adjustments, you're going to see it on the board on this place. You're going to see the mark. I don't know if anybody can. You've seen the link on the page. If you can just open it and let's um interact with it and just see what I was talking about. So maybe if someone is there, you can try that. So it's online. It's on cloud, the cloud. So it's your Gmail stored in. Your your files are there. So it means you can when your system wipes up. So when your system wipes up, sorry about the noise. So when your system wipes up, anything happened to your work, it's not all gone. Okay, I can see two people have now. If you look at this, I can see two anonymous. So probably I don't have access to them. So let me put something here. Today's class. So I'm sure they will all see this. Two people are here already. I can see them. So they can decide to edit something somewhere else. Let me check. Is it editable? Oh sorry. So now this is it. So I can decide to make them viewers or just commenters. They can make comments or even edit. So I'm editing the access. So I'm making it an editor. So anybody that enters into this sheet can actually edit, make changes to the document. So in a situation where you are working in a company, there's several people working on a particular task, you can use this and several people can interact with each other. So basically that's one of the advantages. That's why I really like it. Okay, so we are looking at the other thing. So it has history. You can easily check your history. Maybe you make issues, and this share you can send it as a mail. You could actually also use Google Meets directly and share this directly to Google Meets. So you're supposed to see, yeah, exactly. So this, so I could use this into it. Now, that's just shit for you. Of course, there's Office. I'm going to show you a bit about that. Though that one is just on my system. Of course, my operating system is not Windows. That's why I have access to that. Of course, I think you can download it. I'm not sure if you can download it for Windows, but that's why I use that, and it's actually okay. So, moving around this Google Sheets, for some of us that have had experience using Excel, you could okay. Uh, for some of us that have experience using Excel, you find out that it's a bit similar. They have a lot of similarities. There are sheets here. You can add multiple sheets. You can rename. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah. So you can rename your sheets. You can duplicate. You can, you know, work with this. So this is working with multiple sheets. I'm sure this is very familiar. Then we have some functions. Basically, this is the function. The function section where you can put in whatever functions you have. Then this is so now I want to basically what we're going to be doing is because that's a core functions in Excel. So we have several functions in Excel. So I think I have some data. Okay, yeah, so we can import data too. So I'm going to have some data on my system. So you can import. This is the data I usually have that I have currently on my Google Drive. I can upload. I can open the ones that have been shared with me. And okay, let me just open this and start. So I can choose a spreadsheet. Let's just say insert into a new sheet. I need to import the same. Import data. Yeah. So this imports it into another sheet. So this is a sheet we are working on. Can you see we can work on different sheets and each works are not affected actually. So let's go into looking around. So here we have insert. So we can insert cells, we can insert rows, you can insert sheets. That's why I showed you this. We can also use here. So this will add more sheets. This will also do the same thing. So the looking at this is like doing the same thing with in multiple ways. So these sheets can be created from here and can also be created from here. Of course, it's available in almost every tools. So we also have charts. You can insert charts. There are various charts you can insert. So here, all you need to do is select your charts, select the various charts you want to use. Then you insert them. You also have to choose your data. So here, you choose whatever data you are working in. So we are going to work with this later on, but I'm just showing you a workaround. So let me delete this. So backspace to delete. So we also have pivot table. You can insert images, you can draw functions, which is what we'll be using the most. We have several functions here. Of course, there are classes of functions. Let me call them, if that's safe. Yeah, there are classes of functions. We have let me see, we have different functions. We have math, statistical, we have logical, we have text, we have date time. Okay, we have date time, we have lookup, we have financial. So there are several, yeah, just several data, several functions that we can use. And also, if you look at this, this is telling you the particular class which they belong to. So array means all. Okay, sorry if you're just joining. You can do well to switch off your video. So thank you. So we have several functions. So these are the classes. These are the classes of functions. Array. We have database. All the functions that belong to this class. We have date. So when you're working with dates, so these are all the functions. This part, of course, will give you all the functions that we have. Can you see that there are a lot? So the advantage of this classification is just to help us when you are trying to do something, when you are trying to find a particular one that you need. For instance, dates. If you just need dates, you can just easily come into dates. If you're working with dates, if you are working with flitters, you need to flitter. You need let me see, okay, logical. We are going to be using logical. Then also maths, we are going to be using maths. Things like average. Okay, we even have the up here. These are the most used actually. So basically those are functions with um Excel or sheets or spreadsheets generally. And this is not restricted just to Excel or Google Sheets. Like it's available in almost any spreadsheet. Of course, the most used is Excel. Uh, but I think Google Sheet are beginning to gain grounds uh, when it comes to tools that people are beginning to engage with, when it comes to things that people are beginning to transition more into Google Sheet, because it basically places you online. You can work with each other. Collaboration is easier. Sharing is made easier. Unlike Excel, where you have to download first, then send. And when the person is working, you don't know. The person has to finish his work and send back to you before you continue. So basically, that's one of the advantages of Google Sheets. Of course, actually, Excel has an online version, but it's not free. It's paid for, actually. So only those that actually paid for it, or companies that paid for Excel, can actually use it. So so then also we have format. Basically, we have formats of numbers, text. So I was talking about format of data in our last class. So basically, the few formats that you can work with when it comes to Excel, we call them data types. So the type of data you can work with are numbers, texts, date, time. Yeah, those two. They are very. You can't work with geospatial data when it comes to Excel. I don't think so, because you have to use things like maps and the likes. What you can do is you can actually maybe use longitude and latitude, and I think with the help of these extensions, you can bring in some additional things that are not built into this. So so we have this section. can sort our sheets from here. So that's if our sheets are named. For instance, now we have sheets. So if I should sort this from A to Z, I should have my A. So my sheet is supposed to be okay. These are okay. Okay, that's not this. Sorry. So basically, this is like column data. So for instance, so let's have an input. So let's take in let's say food items. Food items. So we have curry, we have sugar, we have beans, we have rice, we have semo, sorry, vita, we have pounded yam. Okay, so these are the food items. So coming back here, sorting these sheets, we basically just sort them in alphabetical order according to what's here. Sorry, yeah. So then you can also use filters. Filters is basically um this is one of the ways we can create filter. We can actually assign basically maybe you want to filter for a particular set of things to get to see that, so you can use that. Also, um you can remove the filter since we are not using any filter for now. Okay. So filters, so there's a lot of things you can do here. So another thing is data connector. So one of the things we are supposed to talk on today is on one of the things we are supposed to talk on today. Basically, we are supposed to talk on data integration, transformation, reduction, and cleaning. But first of all, we have to understand the basics of using these tools. So which is why I have to go through the process of explaining what each does. So this data connector basically, so in case you have your data outside of Excel or you have a database somewhere, these two are related to Google. This is Google Looker. Google Looker is a visualization to like Power BI. You might even get to use this because it's also online and easy to collaborate with. We also have BigQuery. So BigQuery is an online database or a database that is owned by Google, where we store data. Basically, it can be in different formats, but basically data there are um they are in table formats, and it is called I think it is called OLAP. Let me check OLAP. Sorry. So there's two type of database. So this is already talking about database already. So it's a type of database that stores its formats in tables basically. So it can be anything, but it's all in tables, and it can store large number of data, a large amount of data. It has incredible storage because you're already wondering, okay, I can use Excel, I can use my Google Sheets, I can use that to hold my data. But in a situation like that, because the size and amount of data, like I said, that can be stored in BigQuery, for instance, it's in terabytes, petabytes are like times. That using times, yeah, exponentials of megabytes, gigabytes. So when you have gigabytes of data, even to load a 1 gig data of Excel is going to consume a lot of space on your system if you are loading it on your system. So we have these platforms to host all of these data, and they also gather data for us. So they use them to store data. So you maybe as we get to go, we might get to pick data from. I think I have a couple of storage, a couple of data logged in on my query accounts. So so basically that's data connectors for you. And okay, so these are cleanup. So it has some suggestion for you, can help you do some things, trim some spaces when you're working with text data, also column stacks. I think we've talked about formats. Now also we have this toolbar. I'll call them toolbar because this is like the main bar and this is like a toolbar. So these toolbar are just, they contain functions that have been brought here. So like quick functions basically. So we have functions here. If you remember this was where we got this somewhere here. No, yeah. When it comes to functions, yeah. So it's here already. So it's like a shortcut. We have um I think these are pivot. Okay, our filters. This is also another filter. This is charts. This is comments. Rotation. So basically all of these are um tools, functions or shortcuts. I call them shortcuts basically. And if you don't want, you can take them off. Yeah, you should be able to take them off basically. It's usually a section for that. But okay, so now this part of the Excel gives us an information of whatever cell we are in. So these are all cells. This is a cell, this is a cell, this is a cell. Each cell holds a particular, it can hold text, it can hold numbers, and it can hold time. I've been putting, of course you say times, date time is also numbers, but um in when it comes to data analysis, they're actually different data types. So date time is a data type on its own. Of course I can have something like this, 2/3/2023. This is still a number actually, but if I want to convert it to date type, okay, so I have to just come here and pick dates. So now when Excel sees this, it sees as a date, not numbers. So that's what I've been, that's why I don't mix it up. So it's not okay to mix it up. So now let me clean this off. Okay, so I was talking about cells. So wherever cell I'm currently on, I get the information here. So if I have this, if I select these cells now, can you see that this the effect is taking place here. So this is B7. So these are columns and these are rows. So we have numerous rows. The rows are uncountable. If I keep typing, and actually the rows goes up to, they are countless. Same with my columns too. So coming back here, so this is a function. So here I can put in different functions. So what we are going to now do is, let's take in a data. I think I have, okay, I think I imported a data here. Okay, this sheet, basically this is a data, let's call it a data set basically. Okay, that's true. I didn't think I've mentioned what a data set is. So a data set is basically data, but it consists of information. It consists of rows and columns, and those rows and columns have they have information. So the data set is particularly to a particular domain. So I can have a data set of finance, a stock market data set. Of course you can call it data, stock market data, but in data analysis or in data generally, we refer to those data as data sets. So data sets generally, we that's what we call them. So this is a data set containing of sales, people that have bought, that probably bought something, the product, the amounts they bought it. So they probably bought it in this is the units they bought, this is the cost per unit. I think this is the amount they bought it. So basically this is, let me see the end of this. Okay, I think there are 301, 300 actually, 300 data, because the first row is just header. So this is called header: salesperson, geography, products, amounts, units, cost per unit, cost. These are the header, and this is our um data. This is our just the other data separated from the header. So if you can see, so now we are looking at So let's just pick a random, let's say we want to select C. So the product is in the C colon. So we want to select value in the C. So this is just how to select value. So we want to select from the second one to the, let's say, to the 100 data. So we press enter, and it basically helps you to alight to the 100 data, to the 100, actually not the 100 data, to the 100 row. So the data in the 100 row from this to this. So how do I donate that? I hope my screen is not too small. I just noticed that. I hope it's not too small. I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay, let me try to. Okay, this should be better. Okay, so this is, let me just shrink it a bit so that I can have everything here. This is amount, this is units. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I was talking about selecting different data in different sections. So I could decide to select for salesperson for the column. All I might know is the row or the column where the data is. So I can use A. So it doesn't have to be, can be capital letters, it can be small letters actually. So A3, we start from the third row. That's A3. So A in the A column 3. So that is like a matrix. Okay, sorry, I'm using matrix is okay, let me use coordinates instead. So this is like a coordinates. A column A row 3. So that's what this is. Then colon is used to select range. If I pick range, it will give me the range of values from A3 to, let's say, A 301. So this is going to select everything from A3. Okay, let's make it A2 instead. Yeah, so this is from A2 to A301. That's the last one. Yeah, you can see it. And I could also use it to select multiple rows. Remember, this is like coordinate. So this is the starting point. So it starts from, starting from here, A2. So let's say I want to select A2 to this point. So I need all the data from here, just this first row from here to here, from this part to this part. Then I need from this product to here. So all I need to do is just pick A2 to, that's C9, and I use enter. So it's going to highlight this fact for me. So I could decide to do anything with it actually. But before we go into functions and what it does, we are still observing the data. So now if you look at this, there's a I'll call it maybe arrow. You look a top down, or looking down arrow, pointed down arrow. So with that I could do some things with it. I could create filter. So so this is supposed to create a filter from A to Z. So these values have been sorted. You see, it has been sorted, but now it has been sorted without the rest of the list, which is not a good idea because they all came together. So I'll Ctrl Z. So if I'm filtering, sorry. So let me select. I think it's not easy for me working with this. Okay. So if I do this, okay, the filter is still here actually. So what happened here is actually this detected that this was the header. So automatically assigned the filter to this place. But if I click here, I'm supposed to see other things down here. Yeah. So these are all the names. If I unclick blank, so I should be able to select all, clear. Yeah, then select blanks. So if I want to see just the blank. So of course there are no blanks here. Clear. Sorry. Supposed to unselect this. Select all. and okay, what's going on? Sorry. Okay, select all and okay. Yeah. Okay, so I have everything back now. So now it's supposed to select for everything actually. So select, then when I'm performing my filter, it's supposed to filter for everything. Okay, so let me just remove this filter. Remove filter. So it's supposed to sort. So the filter was supposed to sort. So okay, I think we'll come back to that because my screen is somehow. Okay, let's just go to this. So basically, this is basically you can add things, filter, then sort sheets A to Z, sorts. Okay, now everything has been sorted actually. So let me undo. So now if I pick, if you look at this data, this is salesperson, this is geography, this is product, this is amount, units, cost per unit, and cost. So let's assume we want this salesperson to be in alphabetical order. So I'm going to have to use this sort sheets A to Z. So to use this sheet from here on the salesperson to select and reorder everything and reorder everything else. So basically that's what some of these things do. But I think that's like shortcut. It's more better to use functions. So we are going to look at that functions. So there are some basic functions that you have. We have average. When we came here, when we come here, yeah, functions. Yeah, we have sum, we have average, we have count, we have max, we have min. So basically, this gives us like the sum of a particular. We are trying to do um we are trying to, maybe you have, for instance, we have like this space where we have cost per unit. Now you're trying to get the total costs of all the columns here. All you have to do is call the costs, the sum function. Now there's a difference between cost, I'm sorry, between sum and count. Sum actually will sum all these numbers. Count will basically count. So for instance, if I have 1 to, this is 1 to, this is 1 to 10 basically. So if I call 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, yeah, so this is 1 to 10. So what counts will do here is it will count this and give me 10, but sum will give me the sum of all the values that are inside this place. So okay, someone left. So to do that, um let's try and do a function from here. So sum. So can you see it's asking me for the value? So what value am I summing? So I want my values to be from um e that's e2 to, let's say, e8. That's an error. Sorry, to e8. So can you see? So this gives me the sum from e2 to e8 basically. Now if I should call counts, I'm going to put counts here. So let me just put sum, then counts. So counts here, insert function and count. So I'm going to put the same value, which is e2 to, I think I use e8, e8. So this is the difference. So sum basically sum up the number. It sees it as integer and it gives you the sum. Then while counts just automatically do like a head count on whatever values you have there, whatever range of values you have there. So while I was doing that, I had to come here, right? To do insert. Of course, I had to select where I want to put in the values. Then I came to insert. I clicked on function and I picked what I wanted to do, which was sum. So another way to do that is I could come here, then use equals sign, then put some. Hence it's going to bring in a function. Then I put in the value. So we're using the same value, e2 to e8, and press enter, and it gives me this. And the other way to do this is also I could come here, I will double click on it. When I say this, I'll use the equals to sign, and I'll put some. So automatically it does the same thing. So e2 to e8, and press enter. Remember I said that there are multiple ways of doing the same thing, not just in Excel, sef, in spreadsheets, with most tools basically. So these are like, I think, one, two. Okay, just use one way. This on that way. That's like three ways of doing the same thing, of having to use functions. So I got the functions of, so I used sum, I used count. So of course those are two things you've learned: sum, count. We could also do we could also have average. We could also have max and min. So what average does is it gives you the average of a particular set of numbers, set of inputs. Basically, these are just numbers. The only one that doesn't work with number alone is count. You can't do sum with strings. You can try that, and let's see. Let's see. I might be wrong. Sum. That's A2. We have strings in A2, and let's say A5. What's this? So I'm going to get 0. So we can't do sum with this, but we can do count. So I'm going to just change this to count. Oops. Equals to count a a22 a5. Okay, I'm getting 0. I'm supposed to do a count. I don't know why that is actually, but all I know is counts and some. Basically, these are all numbers. They work more with numbers. So we have some, we have count. We also have min and max. So I was going to talk about average, min, and max. So average is like the mean of basically the word for average is just the way you had a set of numbers and you divide them by the counts of those numbers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm using the first 10 rows. That's from E2 to E9. So average, sorry, equals average, then E2, E9, and I close the bracket. So I'm going to have 265. So from here, I use E9, right? So this is from here to E9, basically. So it's going to give me the average, the sum of this divided by the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you add this up. So let's see if you are correct. So um let's have this 114. So let me just add it to show you. 459 plus 147 plus 288 plus 414 plus 432 plus 54 plus 210. Okay, so all divided by 9. Okay, so it's supposed to be able to do this. Oh, okay, basically this takes function. So what I'm supposed to do is, sorry, I'm supposed to do the sum of this sum. Sorry, I missed something. that's equals to, so it does the sum. So this is the sum. So if I'm to divide it, so I divide it by 9. That's 2118 divided by 9. Of course, it's not sticking. I'm used to Python. It converted it to bits. So I'm supposed to do 2118 over 9. 9. Oh, sorry. But I don't know why it's not doing. So, but basically, that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to divide it and it'll give you this. Oh, let me improve. Okay, I think I've done this already. Very equals to, then yeah, 2118 divided by 9. Yeah, thanks. So so now this is just it. So this is average. So we're supposed to have the same thing. 2118 divided by 9. 144. Did I miss something? I think I missed something. Sorry. This is E2 to E9. And that's what we have here. E2 to E9. Okay, I guess I probably missed something. We're supposed to do the average of these numbers to this point and give you this. So basically that's what average does. Then mean is like the minimum value. Y max is like the maximum value basically. So mean gives you the minimum, the smallest of this number. Max give you the maximum of this setup. So here, oh, I was supposed to divide by 8. Thanks for the observation. I thought it was 9. Yes, so we are seeing an error. Sorry, it's not an error. It's an error and it's also not an error. It's an error when it comes to arithmetic, but it's not an error because if you round this off, you get this. So this is a rounded number of this. So 264.75 will give 265 when you round off the nearest decimal points. So you get this. So minimum. So when we are dealing with minimum, back to here, function. So minimum, you pick the value. So of course, if you look at this, this is also showing you it's like an helper function. So it shows you an example. Basically, if you click down on it, it also tells you how to use the particular. I think the reason why I'm not seeing it because of my screen is not. Let me just zoom out for a bit. I'll zoom in back. So this is going to give you like an helper function on how to use the particular thing. So let me zoom in back. Okay. So the minimum for, so I was trying to do the minimum value E2 to, sorry, E2 to E9. So 54. So the minimum value from here to here is actually 54. Why the maximum value from E2 to E9 is 459. So another maximum value, another name for maximum value of the largest number there. Why minimum is like the smallest number in that range. So this basically just, these are the simple ones, the simple arithmetic that simple arithmetic functions that we could actually do. We also have some special ones. For instance, when you are dealing with dates, for instance, you are trying to develop a report, so you can use today. Today is actually a function. So today, okay, don't let me just go from it. Let me just go to insert function, then dates. So these are all the days, all the formats you can use. So we're looking for today. So today gives you uh today's dates basically. So whenever you don't need to pass anything to it, it will just give you today's dates today's dates in dates time format basically. The other ones, as you can see, uh we will explore more of them. Dates. Sorry. So the other ones, so we have hour, we have dates. So when we have okay, so we have dates, we have days, we have day. So we have different functions, we have months. But the only ones that does not need any other function to work with is today. Today just gives you the current date today. But if you want to get the day from a particular format, all you have to do is equals to day. Then okay, so this colon is H13. So we have equals to sorry day. Then H13. So it gives you the day. So let me get the month too. Sorry, month. I think H13. Yeah, 6. Then the year too. That's equals to year. H13. So 23. So this is like today's date in coordinate. So that's how basically the functions you can use that. You can use the date time function. So you can decide to explore it. But so looking at these functions, because I'm sure you must have been seeing is dates is a week norm. So when you have there are several types of data types sorry classes of functions in Excel. So we have the mathematical one, that's sum, average, maximum, minimum, round. We also have statistical one that can give you basically statistics. Some average is also part of statistical one, but we have more. We have correlations. In the last class I mentioned an example of correlations, how we can effectively. We have logical ones, logical functions. So logical functions are where you have if, and, not. So these ones they are used to check if a statement is valid, if a statement is true or false. So if it's true, it returns true. If it's false, it returns false. Um an example of that is, for instance, we could do I don't know if this will work. 13. Okay, let me see. Is num. Okay, is number, whether it's a number. So let's check if H16 is a number. H16. So H16 is a number. That's true. So that's an example of a logical operator. It returns true or false. So we could also check. Let's check if this is also a number. That's H13. So is number H13. So it's saying H13 as a number, of course. That's integer. So integers are basically number. So it has integers in it, so it's saying it as a number. But if you check for something like this is 314. So equals to the number 314. So I should get a false. Yeah. So this is actually what a false. So this is how the logical operators basically work, and they can take in multiple statements. Then we also have the ones for text that we use more with text. That's we have concatenates, we have left, we have right, we have strip, we have different ones. I already mentioned dates and time. So basically we get to see more of the other functions, the other classes as we proceed. Alright, okay, so I've talked about the classes. Now let's look at another function. That's Okay, before we look at another function, so let me clean up all of this. Yeah. So let me clean up. So I've cleaned that off. So now let's do a a function. So let's see. So yeah, I think we're supposed to complete this table. So we have um units and we have cost per unit. So let's assume we want whatever values here, we want them to be the cost per unit price multiplied by the units. So how do we do this? We all have to use this. So it's going to be multiplication. So we are going to be multiplying the units by the cost per unit actually. So to do that, all we have to do is come here, select this. Okay, I'm just here. Then equals to multiplication. So I can multiply. So it's already giving me suggestions already. So E2 and F2. So I just use E2, comma F2. So I get the multiplication. Now, of course, this is something Google Sheet is helping me to do. It's telling me to autofill the rest. So I can autofill the rest myself. So let's assume, okay, let's just click it. Yes, so I've autofilled the rest. So automatically it has filled in the rest for me. But I don't want to do this. So I'm going to undo. So what I want to do is I want this formula to apply to um the rest of this data. So there's something I can do. I can just pull this down to wherever I want to stop, and it will apply automatically this the rest of, okay, so it will automatically take in the function that was used here and broadcast it to the rest. So it is called broadcasting actually. So it broadcasts this function to the rest automatically. So if you can see, you find out that the values have changed already. So for everything, it's going to do so. Let me just fill up the rest. So I filled up the rest just like that. So the rest have been filled up. So I used the units multiplied by the costs per units. So let's assume this is maybe the suppliers uh amounts that I sold it to the distributor, so to the wholesaler. Then let's say the wholesaler wants to now sell it out. So it's probably going to be selling it at this amount for these units. I'm just assuming basically. So we have to do amounts multiplied by what? By units. Or okay, before that we can just do the sum. So let's do the sum of all of this data. So the sum of this. So basically, if I come here, so as I'm highlighting this, all of this, let me see, I'm going to stop. Let me stop here. So you see that I get the sum here. That's like an upper function. So if I come down here, so I can see the sum here automatically. So I was explaining okay, I think I've explained how I got here and how I was able to get the sum of this. So I was explaining several functions using the sum functions. So using it in this kind of situation where we have multiple numbers. So let me open another data. So I'm going to say here I can easily import. I have some data on my system already. So I'm importing from my system. Sorry, coming. It's coming in already. So I'm going to import into the same sheet, but I'll insert it with a new sheet. So it's still loading, sorry. Okay, yeah, it's in already. Okay, so this is a simple, very simple data. I have cookies name. we have country, and we have numbers of cookies basically. So here we could check the number of cookies, the count basically, not count, sum. I already explained the difference between count and sum. So for those that joined it, count basically gives you the counts and the head counts of particular thing, why sum gives you the summation, the addition of those things. For instance, we have these three numbers now. These three numbers, if you have to get the sum of these three numbers, all you have to do is put in the function sum. Um, that's d3 to d5, d3 to d5. So you get the sum. I'm not to fill in the rest. So you get the sum of this. So these three digits, these three, this is the sum. But we have to do the count instead. If we're having counts of d3 to d5, which is 3, so it gives you just this actually. So that's the difference between counts and uh, count and sum basically. So now we have country. So let's look at this country. We have United States, we have India, and we have Philippines. So let's assume we want to uh, count the number of just United States. So we are going to use count if. So if is usually attached. So when you see if, it means a conditional statement. Remember I said you have conditional statements. We have if, we have and, we have um we have if, we have and, we have some. No, sorry, some is not there. We have if, we have and, we have or, we have not. So basically, and is when we have two. And is when we have two set of values, for instance. So let me draw a table. So here we have um 0. So I'm going to be using 2, 0 and 0, 0 and 1, 1 and 0, 1 and 1. So now if this is, let me say this is x, this is y. So this I'm using and. If I have and 0 and 0, I'm supposed to have 0. If I have 0 and 1, I have 0. If I have 0 and 1, I have 0. If I have 1 and 1, I have 1. So now let me explain this. So what this means is that, what this simply means is that when you have two when you have two different values, if you put an AND operator in between them, if both of them are true, then your result will be true. But if one of the results, or one of the um value on each side is false, then both your response is going to be false. Your response is going to be 0. For in this case now, the only place where we have 1 is where we have both response as what 1. But when one of it is what 0, then the rest is going to be 0. So let's see, sorry, equals to and. So I'm going to use the and logical operator. So I'm going to use h. So I'm going to use this and this, and close it. So I get false. Sorry. Okay, I can just drag this to fill in the rest. So can you see what comes up? So this is false, this is false, this is false, this is true. So for this and this, it is false. So 0 is also the same thing as false. Then we also have 0 and 1, which is 0, which also equals to false. We have 1 and 0, which equals to 0. We have 1 and 1, which equals to 1, which is true. So now this can actually be for multiple things. So this just so when you use if is a logical operator. So when I say count if is a logical operator. So if I come here, so let me just put equals to 2. So count if. So now this takes a range of value. So let's say I want this range of value. Then okay, let me use this instead. It's easier. So we have numbers. Sorry, we have numbers from here to here. So I want to pick the number that is actually all the numbers that you're going to count all the numbers that, let's say greater than 50. So I use the comma and I put in quotes greater than 50 and I put enter. So it's going to tell me that there are three numbers that are greater than 50 here. So from here to here, just three numbers. That's we have 100, we have 52, and we have 67. So if we want one that is less than, we do this and we use enter. So we have four numbers that are actually less than 50 from here to here. So basically that's how the count if works. So let me go back to how I came about it. So all you have to do is pick the range. So there has to be a range of values that you actually want to check for. Then the other column actually is a criteria. What are you checking for? What are you testing for? Basically, that's what the other column does. It actually tells you what you are checking for. So if you are checking for numbers that are less than 50, it gives you this. So let me use another one. So let me use, sorry, escape. I want to come out of this. So it showed me error. So now, okay, that's good. So I'm seeing error. This is an error. It means that my formula was not well written. That's why I'm getting an error. Or maybe the values inside are missing. So let me correct that. So what happened here is that I added this, which should have not been. If I press my enter, I'm going to get 4 bar. So now let me apply this to United States. So I'm going to select all of this country. Then I'll have it for uh, just the countries that belong to United States, the count of countries that are United States. So equals to count if. So I pick the range. So from here, I can select. So like this, I'm just selecting it, selecting to Philippines. So I selected everything. Then I use a comma. Then I put in United States. So let me see. United, that's for, sorry, States. Then I close this and I press enter. So I'll get 7. So that means 7 of this 7, there are currently 7 count of United States in this column, basically. So that's how this counts if work. So the count if is basically still counting, but it's having an additional if statement that signifies for, that allows for you to filter, basically. So this is like a filter. You're filtering for just United States. So if I take this, so I've made a mistake, sorry. So if I come here and I have that same function, so I want to check for India this time around. So I have to select everything. So this is like another shortcut. Then I use a comma and I pick and I write India into this place and I press enter. So I'm also going to get 7. So that means there are 7 count of India here, and looks like there'll be 7 Philippines. Yeah, so there are also 7 Philippines here. So this is actually checking for using the counts if. So also it will be easier to use this knowing counts if. So let's check for average ifs. So let's use average of, let's get the average of all the numbers that belong to United States. So this is a data set now. So we are being asked to give the number of cookies, or okay, yeah, let's use sum of see sum if. So let's use sum if to get the sum of numbers in belonging to United States. So the range, that is the range of values that I'm going to pick will be from United States to this. Oh, sorry, it's be for everything here. Okay, and I put a comma. Then I put my criterion, which is United States, and I put a comma. Now for the range, the sum of numbers two that I'm looking at, which is also this. Yes, then I use this, and I use this. So I get 362. So this is only giving me for just this. So to know if we are correct, let's do the sum of just this. So that's from D3 to D9. So let me use this equals to sum of D3 to D9, and I put equals to. So you can see that it's the same thing. So this only gives you this. With this, you're able to filter. You are selecting everything, but you're able to filter for just the state you want. With this, you have to select. You have to know it. So in a situation where you have a very large data, for instance, now let's go back to this data. We have different countries. So let's assume that we're supposed to give a report of um the total amount that was generated with total amount of goods that USA has. So all we have to do is come here. So total amount means we are doing a sum. We're not doing a count. We're doing a sum. So sum if. So we are selecting everything here. Everything. So I think it's 301. Okay, yeah, let me just do 301. 301. Then comma. So we are picking just USA. USA, comma. Then we are picking the range of the sum where we actually want to sum. So that's amount, and amount is starting from let's start from D D1. D1, okay, D1 has, let's look from D2 to D301 and close it. Now we have our value here. This is $270 $886. So we are getting all of the amounts only for USA in this whole list. So this is how to use the sum if. So if you have to use average if too, you use average if this way. So let's go back to condition. So we have average ifs, we have count ifs, we have mini if, you have max if, you have sorry, you have some ifs too. So looking at this, you see that here we already have the implementation of all of this. So I'll just stick to this since we have more work here. So I've used ifs here. This is hand. Okay, so let me complete this. So when I was talking about logical operators, I mentioned we have and, we have for, and we have if. So this is logical operator and. Let me include this here and. So for all the way all works is, let me copy this, then paste it down here. So now the way all works is for all basically how it works is it takes in whenever one of the inputs is 1, high, or positive or true, the result will be true. So let me extend this. To be able to extend this, let me create another column z. So let me put 0 0 0 0. Then let me do the last one 1 1 1. Yeah. So for all, so if one of the inputs is high, that's all you need. The rest is going to be high. So looking at this, if you are going to do this, you automatically check from 0. None of the inputs here is high, so the result here is 0. Here, none of the, okay, one of them is 1. So you have 1. Here we also have 1. Here we also have 1. Here we also have 1. Provided that one of them is high. So let's do this. Let's check the logical operator with Excel functions. So or, so it takes in this to this, and we close it, and we check. Of course, we are getting a false. Now if you bring this down to here, you find out that this is true, this is true, this is true, the rest are true. So that's how the OR works. So this is the hand and this is the OR. So basically the OR is when one of it is high, the rest will be high. Hand is when one of it is high, it's not going to be high. For it to be high, sorry, I've been using high. For it to be true, the all of the inputs we have to be what? To be positive. We have to be true. We have to be 1. So we also have one more. It's called not. Not. Let's go up. So not basically is the it negates it negates any value you have. If I have 0, so the negative of 0 is 1 basically. If I have 1, negative of 1 is what? 0. So if I put it here and I have not, sorry, not 0. Sorry, instead of not 0, I'm supposed to use this instead. So I'm going to have true, and for this not 1, I'm going to have 0, which is false. So that's how the logical operators work. So you can use it to merge multiple statements. So if two statements are true, maybe you want to do something. So if this is true, do this. If it's not true, do this. More of that will come into place when we go into Python programming. Python programming language, basically. You get to see more of that. But if you can understand it now, then when you get to there, it's very, very easy to understand. Someone say something. Oh, sorry, I did not see that. Sorry. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's best if you pay attention, because if I'm trying to show you what I'm doing and you are trying to replicate it, you might miss miss some things. You might not be able to catch up. So of course I'm going to make this Excel sheet. I'm not going to edit it. I'm going to drop it as it is. So you can pick it up, then begin to try out various things on it. So I'm not going to edit anything on it. Is that okay? All right. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So this is it here. This is like the general place where you can easily get it. Functions, you come here, then you see logical. Of course, there are a lot of them. I just decided to the basic ones, the most simple, the easy ones that are easy to grab is the if, the and the or, when the not. So these are the ones we get. Then also we'll be using if. So these are the ones that are easy to work with, and later on we'll be working with the rest. For the rest are usually required when you are dealing with complex problems, statistical complex problems. You're trying to do some mathematical expressions. So that's when you use all of this. But then we are not going to be using all of the functions in Excel. We won't be able to exhaust it. Some of them we don't need it, some of them are not related to us. For instance, if you check anything engineering, I don't think we have any business with that. Unless probably you are dealing with an engineering data set, a data set that has to do with engineering function, so you have to do. But most of the time, what we'll be dealing with more with maybe financial, logical, lookup, maths, statistical. Yes, very important to be dealing with statistical. Then also be dealing with texts and dates. Yeah, dates. So those are the ones that are usually being used. Then also filters, the one that are commonly being used. Functions for data analysis. All right. Okay. So also I already mentioned this earlier. Aside here, this table here where we have toolbar, our toolbar here, we can access that function. The function I just brought up here. Here, you could actually access it from here. So this is like a shortcut for function. So basically everything here is a shortcuts. All of these are available inside all of this, but it's brought here as tools that are easily most used. Let me call it that way. So tools that are usually are used most of the times. So that's what are highlighted here. So here we have functions. I mentioned this earlier. So here we have filters. We can create filter. Here we have charts. We can create charts here. We could insert. Oh, I clicked on that already. I shouldn't have. Sorry. So we get to work with this more as time goes on. Then okay, I think basically those are the ones that has to do with mathematical. These ones are just symbolical. Okay, yes. Also this here we can change our formats here. So we have numbers, we have percentage, we have scientific, we have accounting, we have various also date time. So these are the functions. So now I was talking about, okay, I think I'm done with logical operators where we have and. Okay, sum is all right. Sum is basically okay. I'm sure we all know what sum is. Sum is basically getting the addition of multiple numbers. So sum ifs is giving a condition, do the sum of this. So the if behind sum is basically allowing you to attach a condition. For instance, now the example I used this United States, and so I use this example where we have countries and we have the sum of cookies sold in units. So for instance, we are told to get the sum of all the total number of cookies that were sold in India. How do we do this? You don't necessarily have to come to India and just select this. All you have to do is just pull up your function, use sum if, then you pick in the range. That's the range of the value that you're picking. So countries, so I select all the countries. Then the next thing I do is I pick on the criteria, what I want to select actually. The criteria. This is called criterion here, but basically it's the condition I want to set. So I want just India. So I'm going to type India into this place. India. Then I put a comma. Then I now pick the range of sum. So this sum range means that where the column on which I want to perform the addition on, the addition sum. So I pick this, I pick all of this, then I close this and I press enter. So what I'm going to get is I'm going to get 31. So 31 is the total number of goods that was sold in India. So to verify that, just to show you that it's working, all I have to do is just do sum, then select the ones in India and close it and press enter. I'll get the same value. But the reason why using this one would not be advisable. The reason why the first one is advisable is in a situation where you are using a very large, you are working with a large number of data. For instance, now in this sheet we have up to 300 data sample points, data points. So in this case, you don't want to have to start picking. For instance, now USA is not okay. I think we already did USA. Let's do something else. Let's do Australia. So now you want to pick. Okay, India is even here. Let's do India. So you want to pick all of the countries. You want to pick only India country, the country India. I want to calculate the total number of amounts that India is generating. it would be unwise to start selecting India one by one. So all you have to do is just come here, come to this table where you want to do this, put in some if, put in the whole that's from B2 to B31, I think. B2 to B31. Yeah. Then you pick in the criterion, which is India. India. Then comma. Then the amounts. So the amount is in the D colon. So that's colon D2 to D301. And I use enter. So I'm going to get all the total numbers generated, the sum of the amounts generated for India across India. So this is just going to give me. So this is like a better way of doing that kind of addition. So it will not be advisable to do it one by one, either to sort and now start adding. No, that would not be better. That's not advisable. So you can apply the same thing to costs. You can apply the same thing to units. You can apply the same thing to all these variables. Now it's not just some ifs. Um, we have some ifs. We have average ifs. We have count if. We have mini ifs. We have max if. So it can be applied to this same thing. So for instance, now we want to check, okay, in India the maximum number of cookies that was sold. So we all we have to do is come here. So that's max if, that's the maximum number. That's equal to max if. Then you put in the criteria, the range. So we want everything from here to here. Then put a comma. Put our criteria, which is India. And put a comma. Then we pick our criteria. We pick our range of values. And close. Okay, I'm getting an error. These three. Okay, sorry, I'm having. Oh, okay. So this is supposed to. So the way max if works, sorry, there's added s. So there's a difference between max ifs. Okay, I think it was when we're dealing with sum if. So there are two types of sum if. There's the sum if. That's sum if is basically dealing with just one criteria. Sum if. Why some ifs deals with multiple uh criteria. So in some ifs I can set multiple criteria. In some if I can only set one criteria. Do you understand? I think that was the question you were asking, right? Okay, so that's the difference between um some ifs. Some ifs allow you to perform a sum of range on based on multiple criteria. So if you are using ifs, you are going to have more than um one criteria range actually. But if you are using just some if, just one, you have only just one criteria to give you the chance to use it will give you the chance to use just one criteria actually. So you won't be able to use multiple criteria. So let me see. So some if, so let's use some. So I think here we used some if. I'm looking for somewhere where you use some if. Okay, so we used some if on United States to get the total number of items in United States. So let's assume, let me see. Is there any repeating number here? Okay, let's go to where we have multiple data. So in this kind of situation where we have geography, I think we should have multiple salesperson here. So let me first check for multiple salesperson. So some sorry, some ifs. Okay, sorry. So now some ifs. So now the sum range, for instance, we are dealing with A1. So let's say from A1, let's just do from A1 to A50. Then now the criteria range. So let's say we want geography. From geography, we want to pick just USA. So um in geography, we are going to select the range also. The range is from B2. Let's say B. Okay, that's B2. Sorry. So that's supposed to be B2. So that's B2 to um B50, comma. Now the criteria. I want to select USA. So I'm going to do this. USA. Now I selected USA. Then let's say I want to pick another criteria. So let's say for um amount, that's amount is having in the amount is in the D column. So that's D2. Is it D2? Yeah, D2 to D50. And I pick another criteria. I want it to be for, let's say, okay, we have things that are actually greater than 1000. Yeah. So I have 1000. Oh, sorry. Okay, I actually want to do for salesperson. So let me edit this again. So I actually want to do for salesperson. For the salesperson, Ram Mahesh. Ram Mahesh. So picking Ram Mahesh. That's A comma the criterion. I'll put him his name. That's Ram. I hope I get it. Yeah. So the amount is supposed to be here, which is that's amount. That's D2 to D50 actually. D50. So if I close this, I'm supposed to get all the total sales for Ram Mahesh. So now Ram Mahesh is in New Zealand. So I want to put in New Zealand. I want to add New Zealand to this. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put comma. New Zealand is in the geography. So that's B, right? That's B2 to B50. Then I'll pick my criterion, which is New Zealand. New Zealand. So now it is restricting this to just New Zealand. So I want to believe that Ram Mahesh has multiple geography locations. So that's how to use the sum ifs. So basically you have the sum range first. Now unlike just sum if, where you have your criteria first, then you now have your range of values that you want to sum. You have the sum range first, then you now have your criteria here. Do you understand? Or I should go over it again. I should go over it. Maybe I should use another example. So let's go back to huh? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So that's the difference between the if, the one with just if, and the one with ifs, the one having carrying an s at the back of it. So the one with the one with s means that you can carry multiple statements, multiple criterias. The one with just normal if cannot carry multiple statements, just one. So in this situation, let me see. I think we have sugar cookie repeating itself. So we have sugar cookie in United States, and we also have sugar cookie in Philippines. So let's do sugar cookie here. So let's do for sugar cookie. So that's some if, sorry, some ifs, sorry, ifs. Now the sum of ranges, of course, this first. Then we pick in the criteria, which is the cookie name. Then we go ahead to put our criteria, which is I think I mentioned sugar cookie. So sugar cookie. And now let's pick for just United States. So that will be C. That's from here. Oh, sorry. That pick D3. Okay, this is my sum. Sorry, hold on. Oh, max if this is not what I was working on. Yeah, this is what I was working on. Yeah, sum is okay. Yeah, D2 to D3. Sugar cookie. Sorry, sugar cookie. Then I want to pick from C what again? C3 to C23. C3 to C23. Now that's for the states. So I'm going to pick for just Philippines. How's it spelled? Philippines. Supposed to be one. So I get 92. So this 92 is telling me that um the total number of sugar cookie that is found on this place, on this cookie name, and also in the country Philippines is 92. So assuming I have one more here, so let me add one more sugar cookie, Philippines, then 100. Let me put in 50. So if I have this formula will now be updated and should no longer be 92. So let me see. Sugar cookie. Oh, sorry, the range of values I was selecting has increased. It's now 24. So 24, 24. So can you see now that it has increased to 142? That's because in Philippines there are two sugar cookies with 92 and 50, which sums up to 142. So that's what sum gives you. That's the advantage of having using the one with multiple S. So if you want to have multiple criteria, you need to check for multiple things across multiple colons. You can use sum ifs. So same applicable to max if. Let me okay, I want to hold on one. So I'm not going to do many ifs, I'm not going to do max if. I'm going to allow you guys to explore on that. So I'll just pick average ifs. So average ifs. So I'll pick my average range from here to here, then comma, the criteria. So that's country. So I want to do for country, then the specific country I want to pick. Let's say India. Then also let's say how many. Let me see. India has chocolate chip. So let's just pick chocolate chip. Chocolate chip. Okay, so oh there's an error, of course, to bring out an error. I saw that. Supposed to put in the colon where I want to pick the cookie names. That's on the B column. That's from B2 to B24 actually. So I didn't put that B2 to B24. So I put comma. Okay, I'm still having an error. So where's my error coming from? I have different array types. I hope you can see the way I was able to detect that. So when I click on this, it says my array argument to average ifs are of different size. So that means I have different size on this thing. So that's where this comes in. 53. So I have 75. So for India, the country India, chocolate chip, I have just 75. Of course, it's just one chocolate chip that is in India. So 75 over 1 is 75. But if you look at a country like Philippines where I have two sugar cookies, so let me just change this to uh Philippines. Philippines. Let's spell it correctly. Yeah, Philippines. I'm changing it to sugar cookie. Sugar cookie. Yeah, so I have 71. So it gives me the average of both sugar cookies in Philippines. So I could decide to add something else. So I could say, okay, I just want um I want let me do this here. So I promise to keep this here. So I can decide that I just want the average of numbers that are only greater than 50. Or let's say they are greater than 75. Since I have 92 and 50 here. So I want the average of numbers that are greater than 92. So in that case, I have to just add on that criteria here. Then pick in the colon again. So I want this to D4. Then the criteria will now be greater than 75. So I have 92 this time around because only 92 is greater. So I'm just trying to show you that we can have multiple, as many as possible inside the average ifs, the average ifs function. But when it comes to just average if, it's just one. In fact, if you check from here, if I pull this up, average if. So this average if you check this function, this example, it only shows you one criteria range, one criterion. You don't have multiple. So that's how you know from there. You can see it's just like I said, this is an helper function that makes you uh find out about things I don't know. You can easily check it and relate to if you need to get help. And if you still need more help, you can just click to learn more and to take you to the documentations for all the functions in uh, Excel. So that can be used for Google Sheets actually, relating to just Google Sheets. But of course, I told you that they are similar actually. There's Google Sheets, there's Excel, there's LibreOffice, there's WPS. They all have the same functions. Okay, so I think that's all. I think I'd like to take a pause for today. We're going to stop here for today. So in summary, all we have done, we've actually in the beginning we talked about looking around, understanding why we are using Google Sheets. We're not using Excel. Of course, most people now use Excel. Some don't. But we are using Google Sheets because it's easy to collaborate with. I can share this link to you and you can work on this directly as I'm working on it actually. And I will see proof of it that I'm working on it. So I'm going to share this and send it to you. So basically, we've covered some basic functions in Excel, which includes this sum, average, counts, marks, if. We also covered logical operators and or we covered notes. We covered these these operators sum mixed with if an if statement. That's a conditional statement. That means we can add conditional statements to these things, to whatever thing we want to do. So some if, we have some ifs. So the difference between these two is that uh the ifs takes in multiple criteria, multiple conditions. The if takes in just one condition. So I think that's like a recap of everything that we actually did today. And we also did with average, median. So average and median is actually okay. Average is not the same thing with median. Median is the middle value actually. Minimum mean is the minimum value, while max is the maximum value. So I think that like everything in summary that we did today. Don't know if I missed something else. So if you want to see anything, you want to make a contribution, some things are unclear, you're not clear, we can trash it out before Time runs out. Anybody? Yeah, hello. Okay, so just to explain what I was doing here. So what I was trying to use, I was using numbers, basically 0 and 1. So 0 means false. So 0 is also the same thing as false. Why 1 is also the same thing as true. So whenever there's 0, the system can take that false. So I was just doing that to explain this. So you would translate it to this. So when we have 0, when we have two statements that are false, so I just use this to represent statements. So in a situation where you have a statement that is false and another statement that is false, and you use and, so if you merge them together and you say, okay, for instance, if um for items in cookie's name that belongs to chocolate chip, and items in country that belongs to United States, give me the sum of all the numbers. Now in that situation, what it will do is it will check for chocolate chips. If there's chocolate chip in cookie name and there's United States in country, it will give you the sum of all the numbers there. But if one of that statements is not true, that is, if chocolate chip is not a cookie name, it's not going to give you anything. So that means that for you to evaluate, that's just a simple example of the hand logical operator. So if the first one is true and the second one is also true, it will give you a result. That's why we have if 1 and 1, you get 1. But if 1 and 0, you actually get 0. If 0 and 1, you get 0. That means if one of them is false. So if there's no United, for instance, now there's no Nigeria here. So I'm saying if I have a cookie name called chocolate chip and I have a country called Nigeria, give me the total number of cookies here. I'm not going to get anything. I'm going to get a 0. That's a simple explanation for uh, and. Now for all, a simple explanation for that can be, so when I have a cookie name here, so I'm saying if I have chocolate, okay, let's use country. So if I have Nigeria in country or United States in country, give me all the total number of cookies sold in both states. Now it's going to evaluate and give me and return a value for all the countries that are in United States, but Nigeria is not there. If I had used an AND operator, that's okay for United, for countries, for United, for all these countries in the United States, for all the United States countries and all the Nigerian country in this table, give me the number of cookies. I'm not going to get anything. I'm going to get 0 because there's no Nigeria in this state. So that's the difference between the AND operator and the or operator, and that's how it is being applied, that's how it is being used. So when you have and, it means that if you have and between multiple statements, all of the statements must be true. But if you have or between multiple statements, only one of that statement needs to be true for you to evaluate. That's why we have in this situation where we have 0 and 0, and we have three statements here. We have XYZ representing three statements. So 0 0 0, the result to 0. 0 1 0 is returned to 1. So providing that there's 1, providing that any of these statements is true, it will return a true. Do you understand? I hope that's clear enough. All right, you're welcome. Any other question? Anybody? All right. Looks like there's no question. Is anybody raising up his or her hands? Okay, nobody. All right. I think we have come to the end of today's class. So, like I said, I'm going to drop these notebooks on the group. And something else is, if you're experiencing any issue, you might not have to wait to the next class. You can just raise up your issues on the group, raise up your questions on the group. I'm readily available to give response to your various questions. Um, Thank you for joining today's class. I hope you have a wonderful night's rest and have a nice weekend.